It ran as the very first official race on the channel almost 11 years ago, a day which saw Jesse Turner go to victory lane. Well, here we are. We have run 12 of these events over the years, and we descend upon the Daytona International Speedway for the 13th running of the Daytona 500, this time in the Wawa Cup Series for the 4th time here in this series. This is always an exhilarating and thrilling race each and every year, and the driver who goes to victory lane will always be remembered as a Daytona 500 champion. Just ask LJ Cimetto or Eric Monaco, or past two winners of this great event, who will join them here today as it's the 2026 Daytona 500 in the 2026 Wawa Cup Series. Here we are at the World Center of Racing. It's race number 2 of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. We are here for the biggest race of the season, the Daytona 500. Of course, later on today, we will see the Daytona 500 run for the 68th time in real life. For us here on AG the channel, this is our 13th running of the great American race. We cannot thank you all enough for all the years of this series and this channel, and we are here again to have some fun. This is always an excellent race. 50 laps around the Daytona International Speedway. No pit stops. It's all about the speed in your car and getting to the front and avoiding the big accidents, which we have seen each and every year in this great American race. Joined alongside a couple of storied owners in the Wawa Cup Series, Igor Barreto and Matt Tuck. And Igor, I will start off with you. You have won this race as an owner, LJ Cimetto, winning 2 years ago for your team. You have Zachary Fitzwater starting third in this race here today. What do your guys need to do to get a Daytona 500 once again for the storied Titan Fury Racing here today in the Wawa Cup Series?
Hey Alex, pleasure to be here once again. I think the main question is, like I said in the duel, is not getting to the problems, not getting into a crash, and also trying to get to the fast lane, be it the inside or outside lane as soon as possible. But the main question also, when you consider the Daytona 500, has to be a little bit of strategy with your draft partner. So a little bit of everything has to be counted on for this race, and those are the main questions if you want to get a win, if you want to have a chance to get your name and draw into eternity into this Daytona 500 winner hall.
And of course, it's going to be a very exhilarating race to see who finds himself in the right position as this race goes along. But Matt, one driver who really found himself in the right position, and we saw so much strength out of this guy on Thursday in the Mellow Yellow Duel, is Bruno Diacomo and his teammate with the newly formed Anderson Jr. Enterprises. Brad Stover there locked up the front row. And Matt, after what we saw on Thursday with Bruno Diacomo dominating that dual race, led every single lap, and had a considerable gap on the pack behind him nearly the entire time, do you give anyone else in this field an opportunity and maybe defeating those guys, getting them out of the way early on so they have a shot at winning this Daytona 500?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting fight here because, as we saw in the first duel, Diacomo looked absolutely lightning. But in the second duel, Brad Stover's lead from the pole position didn't even last 2 corners. So I think it shows that, there is a lot of pace in those cars if they can hold out front. But we're going to, we've seen a couple times before where guys have lightning fast hot rods here around Daytona and qualifying trim, and then they're not quite as fast in a pack if they get past. And, the other thing is, too, is this is now a 42-car field. This is much different from a duel where it is a little bit easier to manage the lines here. You have to do some serious work if you want to stay out front here today. They have the pace. We've seen that we know they have the fast cars, but they have a lot more fighters coming at them here today.
No doubt about it. And how about some of the fighters in this race who are just behind our front row. Zachary Fitzwater, a two-time Daytona 500 champion. Roberto Crown Jr. won the duel. He won the Valvoline 400 last year. Eric Monaco, our defending Daytona 500 champion. Alexander Rowe has won the Daytona 500 before. He's in the field. And you also have the 71 of LJ Cimenta, who won this race 2 years ago. So there's a lot of experience. And, of course, we didn't even mention a Racing Motorsports driver yet. You got Carson Miller, Brian Webb on that team. Racing Motorsports has had a lot of success here at Daytona in the Valvoline 400. But Racing Motorsports themselves, they got the win a year ago with a hot seat driver of Eric Monaco. And we know how strong those guys are. They won 3 consecutive super speedways here in the Wawa Cup Series, the end of 24 into the 2025 season. So there's a lot of guys and a lot of teams that we see run up front in these races that we don't typically see run as well throughout the rest of the season. So such a huge opportunity for so many guys to get a Wawa Cup Series race victory. And for Bruno Diacomo, he's never won a Wawa Cup Series race officially. He did win the Meliello Smooth Fest 2 years ago, but that was an exhibition event. This is an official points-paying race here today, and Diacomo has an opportunity at getting it done. But there are 41 other drivers in the field who won the Daytona 500 race victory, the Harley J. Earl Trophy, the fictional one that we give out. And it's going to be an exhilarating race to find out who gets the race victory. Of course, we have the restrictor plates on these guys, but the racing that we've seen here at Daytona the past couple of years has been some of the best that we have seen. The way these guys maneuver around the pack, it is very similar to how they do it in real life, and it's a lot of fun to see who ends up in victory lane after 50 laps here at the Daytona International Speedway. Of course, we have already run a couple of events, a couple of points-paying events here in the Wawa Cup Series. We had the opening Wawa 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway last Friday night. That was won by Skep Silver and Dracoan Racing Enterprises, so he is your points leader. Bruno Diacomo had a great run in that race and, of course, won his duel, so Diacomo only 8 points behind Skep coming into this race. Tanner Parton is 12 points behind, and then Braden Perez, Jack Hosbo, 15 points behind, but still very early on, and nobody in this race today is thinking about the championship today. They're thinking about going to victory lane in the Daytona 500. Without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the 42-car field for this year's running, the 2026 Daytona 500 in the Wawa Cup Series. Starting 42nd in the number 43 Racing Motorsports Chevrolet, Brian Webb. Starting 41st in the number 11 Team Velocistar Ford, Braden Perez. Starting 40th in the number 20 Rut Racing Chevrolet, Laura Chung. Starting 39th in the 06 Parker Davis Enterprises Ford, Nathan Smith. Starting 38th in the number 41 Racing Motorsports Chevrolet, Carson Miller. Starting 37th in the number 17 Zidell Motorsports Ford, the 2015 Daytona 500 champion, Nicholas Samadio. Starting 36th in the number 13 Team Williams Dodge, Avery Alford. Starting 35th in the number 64 Intersys Motor Racing Ford, Logan Williams. Starting 34th in the number 97 NS Racing Dodge, Andrew Miller. Starting 33rd in the number 23 Team Williams Dodge, your defending Wawa Cup Series champion, Duncan Ward. Starting 32nd in the number 60 Mahindra Motorsports Toyota, Sarah Taylor. Starting 31st in the number 51 Intersys Motor Racing Ford, Rogel Dorn. Starting 30th in the number 27 Vision Motorsports Ford, Bryce Egan. Starting 29th in the number 39 Evans Ross Racing Dodge, Jack Hodge. Starting 28th in the number 52 Hairgel Motorsports Chevrolet, Angel Gutierrez. Starting 27th in the number 32 Pacific Racing Toyota, Blaine Keys. Starting 26th in the number 72 Triad Racing Dodge, the 2020 Daytona 500 champion, Alexander Rowe. Starting 25th in the number 62 Pacific Racing Toyota, Thomas Troxel. Starting 24th in the number 86 Durrani Racing Ford, Bibi Ruiz. Starting 23rd in the number 78 Durrani Racing Ford, Christian Master. Starting 22nd in the number 63 Vision Motorsports Ford, Philip Torres. Starting 21st in the number 67 Heartland Racing Toyota, Aaron Lukes. Starting 20th in the number 31 Dracullen Racing Enterprises Ford, Mateus Bento. Starting 19th in the number 6 Parker Davis Enterprises Ford, Isaac Nichols. Starting 18th in the number 98 NS Racing Dodge, Zayden Davidson. Starting 17th in the number 66 Andrews Racing Toyota, Kirsten Bell. Starting 16th in the number 71 Titan Fury Racing Dodge, the 2024 Daytona 500 champion, LJ Samedo. Starting 15th in the number 0 Rut Racing Chevrolet, Bernardo de Oliveira. Starting 14th in the number 42 Mahindra Motorsports Toyota, Johnson Jameson. Starting 13th in the 05 Triad Racing Dodge, Tanner Parton. Starting 12th in the number 54 Team Velocistar Ford, Daniel Paulus Jr. Starting 11th in the number 81 Dracullen Racing Enterprises Ford, Skip Silver. Starting 10th in the number 16 Racing Motorsports Chevrolet, Javier Vasquez. Starting 9th in the number 93 Evans Ross Racing Dodge, Leonard Kochmer. Starting 8th in the number 61 Andrews Racing Toyota, Alex Sanventale. Starting 7th in the number 4 Hairgel Motorsports Chevrolet, Trey Borto. Starting 6th in the number 84 Heartland Racing Toyota, Carson Green. Starting 5th in the number 82 Hairgel Motorsports Chevrolet, your defending Daytona 500 champion, Eric Monaco. Starting 4th in the number 7 Zidell Motorsports Ford, winner of Mellow Yellow Duel number 2, Roberto Crown Jr. Starting 3rd in the number 99 Titan Fury Racing Dodge, 2018 and 2021 Daytona 500 champion, Zachary Fitzwater. Starting 2nd in the number 73 Anderson Jr. Enterprises Toyota, Brad Stover. And your 2026 Daytona 500 pole sitter, driving the number 70 Anderson Jr. Enterprises Toyota, winner of Mellow Yellow Duel number 1, Bruno Diacomo. And there you have it. It is 42 drivers, it is 50 laps, it is one driver who will become a Daytona 500 champion here today in the Wawa Cup Series. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a very fascinating race. And after what we saw in the duel, both of you guys were in duel number 1, Igor and then Matt. Who do you guys think is going to victory lane here in the 2026 Wawa Cup Series Daytona 500?
You know, my bet for duel number 1, I almost got it. That was Trey Bartow. So maybe I can get another result for driver. I'm going to duel number 2 winner, Roberto Crown Jr. I think his performance was great there, and I think he'll know the ways to get to the front to have a chance for this win. And I'm betting on him to win the 500 today.
Well, I think you need a fast car here. I think you need the experience. I think you need to be somewhere where you know how to get this done around the super speedways. We've seen that with Titan Fury and LJ Semedo. We saw that last year with Eric Monaco and Racing Motorsports, and I'm going to take Racing Motorsports to run it back-to-back here. I'm going to go with Carson Miller. He's got some work here to do today, but he has been lightning. He was lightning at Homestead. I know he didn't get a good finish in his duel, but he was looking quick until he got in an accident, and I think lightning's going to strike again here for Racing Motorsports today.
We'll have to see if that ends up being the case. They do not have good starting positions, as you see, with the 41 of Carson Miller there to the outside, and Brian Webb starting dead last in this race here today. Going to be fascinating to see how it ends up shaking out as this race goes along. All right, we have talked long enough. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here for the Daytona 500 in the 2026 Wawa Cup Series. And on the front row, it is Bruno Diacomo and Brad Stover, rookie team to the Wawa Cup Series. Hallie Anderson Jr., the owner of this organization, and Anderson Jr. Enterprises. And they were easily the 2 fastest cars on Tuesday night in Daytona 500 qualifying. They will lead us to the green flag for the Great American Race. Zachary Fitzwater to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. in row number 2. Fitzwater runner-up in the first duel, and Roberto Crown Jr. the winner of duel number 1. Last year's Daytona 500 champion Eric Monaco driving for Hairgel Motorsports in the hot seat once again, to the inside of rookie Carson Green driving for Heartland Racing. It's Trey Bartow. He ran in the very first Daytona 500 back in 2015, driving for Hairgel Motorsports to the inside of Alex Amentali in the number 61, and then Leonard Kochmer for Evans Ross Racing starts 9th to the inside of Javier Vasquez's first ever Daytona 500, driving the number 16, paying tribute to the late Greg Biffle for Racing Motorsports. 42 cars here at the Daytona International Speedway. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it always is, and we are so happy to be back in the Wawa Cup Series. A great first event of the season in the Wawa 400. And just before we get started, Matt, what does it mean to win this race here at Daytona in regards to the rest of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I can't speak too much of it. I've never even, sniffed victory lane here at this place. But, I mean, it's huge. You know, like you said in the pre-race, you kind of throw the championship out the door here today, and all eyes are today. This is the only day of the season where it truly is all about winning.
It absolutely is. Well, thank you all so much for watching here today. The 4th season of the Wawa Cup Series already underway. The 13th Daytona 500 we've run on the channel. And it's a beautiful sunny day here in Daytona Beach, Florida for this great race. It's 50 laps here in the Great American Race. And the Daytona 500 for 2026 in the Wawa Cup Series is underway here from the Daytona International Speedway. Here we come to complete lap number 1 of the Daytona 500, and Bruno Diacomo on the outside lane with a huge push from his teammate of Brad Stover will lead the first lap. That's a bonus point towards the championship. We still have the bonus points for leading a lap and leading the most laps since we do not run stages in this series. But of course, winning the race will award 50 points, so it's a guaranteed 51 points for getting a race victory here. How about Brad Stover clearing the inside lanes, cutting back down to the inside of his teammate for the race lead here on lap number 2.
Yeah, you can clear to see the new Tim Anderson Jr. Motorsports still very strong. Giacomo had that dominant performance in duel number 1. Even though Silver didn't have the same performance, well, he shows his car is just as good as Giacomo, as both of them clear the field and will try to dominate this race, honestly. But it was cool to see for a moment 3 of the main drivers who attacked Giacomo in duel number 1, Fitzwater, Monaco, and Bartel, working together toward Giacomo, but sadly broke down already, and the 2 teammates already ahead. So still a long ways to go, but honestly, it seems like they'll be the class of the field today. So we really need to watch out for these 2 drivers to be the potential winners of this race.
Yeah, and how about Stover and Giacomo swapping positions 4 times already in this race? That's incredible. But how about Trey Bartow, Carson Green, and how about our last winner, Skep Silver, up here in the 81 machine? And Dracoan Racing Enterprises, they won the last points-paying Superspeedway race here in the Wawa Cup Series here at Daytona back in August with the Valvoline 400. In this very car, was driven by Roberto Crown Jr. at the time. Trey Bartow up to the 2nd position. Of course, he's got a lot of experience on the guys around. Of course, Brad Stover has a lot of experience as well in the 73. And how about Bartow getting out ahead of Bruno Diacomo right there? And after what we saw at Diacomo on Thursday night, we thought he'd be a dominant force. He's still up there, but Bartow's gotten around him. Carson Green, rookie driver for Heartland Racing on this inside. Some contact there between Javier Vasquez and Leonard Kochmer. That's the hot seater right there. Both of our hot seaters in the top 10 right now here, Matt. A great run for these guys. So one of the few starts they'll have this season is Giacomo looking back to the inside of Trey Bartow for 2nd.
Yeah, Bartow and the 82 of Monaco have gotten up here, and they are trying to slice it and dice it with these 2 Enterprise Toyotas, who do look really strong. But, I mean, I don't think they're going to be invincible here as the race goes on. I mean, Trey Bartow did get up here and split the gap, but his teammate Monaco is going to cross him over. I don't know why you're trying to fight your teammate that hard here. I mean, you want to get around these Toyotas, break up their momentum. I mean, they're sticking close to each other. They're giving it an absolute dogfight. Here comes Igor's guy, Zachary Fitzwater, and I'm assuming what could be his final Daytona 500. Boy, what would that mean if he could go out with a win? But so far, I mean, it's Toyotas, but there's a lot of guys coming up here to challenge early on.
It's a very competitive race for 2nd place right now, but Brad Stover is pacing this field in the number 73 for Hallie Anderson Jr.'s team. And, of course, Brad Stover, he used to be your driver, Igor, there at Titan Fury back in the day, so I know you know him very well. He's been a part of the series for a long time. He has also never gone to victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series. But he's got a great opportunity here today if things can go his way. But still very early on here in this Daytona 500, only lap 6 of 50. And you have last year's winner up here in Eric Monaco, last week's winner in Skep Silver, and, of course, the winner of our hearts is this number 16 Greg Biffle tribute scheme that Aaron's going to be running this season. Great to see that. We've talked about it quite a bit here, and, of course, a lot of schemes and a lot of numbers commemorating Greg Biffle this weekend in real life as well, and Javier Vasquez doing the same with this organization here, and raced his way in on Thursday night, and here he is with a huge opportunity as he's top 10 in the Daytona 500. A little bit further back, you have Kirsten Bell and Isaac Nichols on the inside lane there, trying to move their way up. We saw this in the duel, and we saw this Friday night in the Pro Series race. The inside lane wasn't particularly the strongest place to be. The problem is, it's really the only place you can actually move your way from the back to the front, because that outside lane just locks in and stays where they are. So if you guys like Sam Vitale and Paulus Jr. and Tanner Parton back in there, you're really in a tough position because there's really no way to advance your position with where you are. But Brad Stover does not need to advance his position at all right now. He is still out front here in this Daytona 500. They're 3 wide as Monaco splits to the inside of Bartow and Diacomo for 2nd.
Yeah, definitely an interesting strategy for Monaco. I agree with Matt that Barco and Monaco should have been working together to broke Haley Anderson's, let's say, lock on the field. But still, they're pretty wide right now with Giacomo, so it's been looking kind of decent. But Brad Stover's just staying up front. He's probably eager to win. It's been years since he won in the Wawa Cup Series / Chick-fil-A Cup Series. So in my opinion, Stover is probably the driver who wants the most to win. But honestly, we'll have to see because it is still very locked, pretty wide throughout the whole field, basically. So still a long race to go. We have to wait and see. But if Monaco and Barco work together, they might be able to pass over and maybe get the win. Maybe the second year in a row for Monaco. Maybe I believe the first time for Barco. So definitely,
he's closing.
A lot of strategy left in this race.
Whereas he's pushing on that inside lane. He's got the 82 of Eric Monaco behind him. You know, and this is very different than Daytona 500s that we used to see in the past. And going to be fascinating to see if it stays this way the whole way through, because you get a guy like this, Brad Stover, dominating this field. Remember the prelude race that we had back in April here? Jack Haas led every single lap in that one. And, well, we're not going to have someone lead every single lap in this race. Of course, Giacomo led the first lap, and then Stover's led ever since. But it used to be back in the day we would see a huge cycle here at Daytona, but it's not the case anymore. And you have to find yourself in the right position as Giacomo got back on that outside lane, and he's going to split back to the inside of his teammate. Now, the one thing in the dual races that neither of these guys had was their teammate, and that may have actually helped them out, at least Giacomo out. It didn't help Brad Stover out, as we saw very clearly in that one. But these guys racing each other may actually bring these other guys behind them a little bit closer into the battle. And guys like Monaco and Bartos, Skep Silver, we know have it. Fitzwater as well, a two-time winner of this Daytona 500. Would love to get a third one, and what we anticipate to be his final season of the Wawa Cup Series. Of course, we mentioned he's been in every single Cup Series event, Chick-fil-A Cup Series, NOFSRL Cup Series, Wawa Cup Series. The only driver who can say that. And here he is, with the lead just ahead of him. And I know that he is thinking about that, trying to find any opportunity he can to get up front in this race. We'll have to see if he does get that opportunity once the time comes. We're a fifth of the way through this Daytona 500. Bruno Giacomo taking the lead away from his teammate at Brad Stover. So we're on to lap number 12 here at Daytona.
I think if you're Monaco, you've got to stop hopping into that middle lane, or if you're anybody coming off the bottom, you've got to stop hopping off of the middle lane or getting into that middle lane here when you get on the back straightaway. You've got to stay committed to something here if you want to break up these two Toyotas. Oh, this is the closest we've gotten so far. Giacomo's to the door of, or Monaco's to the door of Stover. Skep Silver's to the door of Monaco. And this is the closest, I think, that they've come.
Carson Miller, Andrew Miller. The Millers going 4 wide. Troxel's there, Aaron Lukes. Will they get out of this? They're tapping each other. A little bit of contact as they go through the tribal. This is the tricky spot right here. This is where we saw the wrecks on Thursday in the Meliolo duel. It's Avery Alford on the outside lane as well. They're really pushing up on each other there. Carson Miller and Andrew Miller not giving each other any space. And up in the outside wall, we got ourselves a wreck in turn number 1 here at Daytona. Carson Miller, Andrew Miller, and Avery Alford going around Philip Torres. I think he avoided major contact in that one. Same with Logan Williams. But our first caution of the day here in the Daytona 500. Brad Stover is your race leader in the number 73. Bruno Giacomo looking to take the lead back and win the race back to the line. Thankfully, that happened in the back of the field. It did not take out any drivers from this accident, or from this race, I should say. Across the line, the race back's going to be close. The race back's going to be won barely by Bruno Giacomo, and that's about as barely as it can get, as Alex Sanventali has just blown up in the 61. He's done. What a shame for Sanventali. He was the slowest driver on Thursday in single car qualifying. Raced his way to a pretty solid starting position here for this Daytona 500 on Thursday, but his day is going to end early here. There is no returning back to the race with that much smoke trailing your race car.
And what a heartbreak for Sanventali. Definitely hope for a better race today, but what a race we had to the caution line. If we have a finish like that, we might be one of the closest And it's just ever in the channel, ever in the Cup Series.
Well, I mean,
We
we
gotta
got
watch out. This.
quadruple zeros, dude. I mean, I can't get any closer than that.
Oh my gosh.
Remember Nicholas Samadillo? It might have been a little bit before your time. Nicholas Samadillo went in this race back in season 2, all the way back
that
in the
one
day.
I know.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
tough break there
one.
for Carson Miller and Andrew Miller. They're not related. They don't need to be that close. Up into the turn 1 wall. Let's see what happens to bring out the caution for the first time today here in the Daytona 500 of the 2026 Wawa Cup Series. Well, Andrew Miller, Carson Miller. And, of course, Thomas Troxel, Avery Alford in the middle of this as well. And this is where we've seen the issue throughout the weekend. We saw a lot of trouble throughout the trioval with this 4 wide, and man, that was a tight one there between those two drivers, Carson Miller and Andrew Miller. Carson sliding up into the 97, and look at that. I mean, there's no room for Andrew Miller to go. And because of that, they just run out of room going in the turn number 1. Avery Alford has nowhere to go. Andrew Miller has nowhere to go, and around they go into turn number 1. Thankfully, this was a mild accident. Realistically, it was only those 3 drivers who were involved. Nathan Smith just barely avoiding it. Great job out of Braden Perez avoiding that one as well. Andrew Miller around, Carson Miller around, Avery Alford also around, Johnson Jameson, Logan Williams, and Philip Torres are behind that. But thankfully, it's happened in the back of the field and not at the front, where it could have wiped out 30 cars. And thankfully, everyone of these drivers caught up in the accident will still be in the race here at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, here we go, coming into the trial hole. I mean, we saw, this can go two ways sometimes. We saw in the Pro Series it worked out pretty okay, but here not as much, and they're just going to squeeze pinch each other. Not too bad. I've seen worse impacts, so we'll just have to see once we get back going the level of damage to these cars. A good pair of Nexus affiliated teammates. And the Race and Motorsports car most heavily impacted there. A couple other guys involved, but tough situation here early. But our eyes turn to these two up front. Have been lights out so far.
Yeah, Bruno Diacomo's had a great run so far here in this Daytona 500. We're going to have to see what he does next here at the Daytona 500 here, the second race of the 2026 Wawa Cup Series. Oh no! We have just returned to the Daytona International Speedway, about to get to the restart, and our race leader, Bruno Diacomo, has just blown up. Engine failure on the number 70. Just as we were about to return, and Bruno Diacomo's chances of winning this Daytona 500 are going to end right here. Absolutely unbelievable. He won the pole by a 1/10.5. He led every lap in his duel. But he will not finish this race. That's 2 engine failures, one right after another. We just saw Sam Ventali in the 61, and now it's our race leader, Bruno Diacomo, who is going to come down the pit lane and retire that race car. His teammate Brad Stover will be your race leader on the restart, with Eric Monaco, Trey Bartow, Leonard Kochmer, Zachary Fitzwater, Skep Silver, Roberto Crown Jr., Javier Vasquez, Bruno, or should I say Bernardo de Oliveira, and Zayden Davidson. This just happened. I mean, we just saw this happen. Absolutely unbelievable for Bruno Diacomo, and now it's up to Brad Stover, the Kerry Anderson Jr. Enterprises, to the checker flag here at Daytona, and we saw how that went on Thursday night. Here we go, back underway with 35 laps to go in the Daytona 500.
I'm speechless. I'm absolutely. That is one of the most shocking things I think I've ever. That is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen on this channel. And folks, we saw yesterday in the National Series, you can control the race if you have a teammate, but doing this solo is going to be the task for Brad Stover now to win this race. Just went through the roof with his teammate. It's one thing, but now it's him versus the hair gel cars. The 93 Akashmuru has something to prove. Zachary Fitzwater. I mean, the 2 Dracoan Racing Enterprises cars. Vasquez is up here. De Oliveira is up here. LJ Semedo's finding his way to the front of the field. This is going to get very, very interesting, and every one of these drivers now knows the opportunity to win this race now is right in front of them.
Of course, we know that Brad Stover has a good race car. We know that he absolutely is capable of carrying this team to victory lane. But to your point, Matt, he does not have his teammate anymore out there to help him. And he absolutely could have used that help on Thursday night, as we saw. And now you got a lot of hungry drivers right behind Stover looking to get around the 73 machine. If you are Bruno Diacomo, this was one of your best opportunities to get your first ever win in the series. He's not even going to get any points from it. He's going to get maybe 1 point. I think he is going to get 1 point from this race today, finishing 41st right there. Such a tough break there for the driver of the number 70. In terms of cars off the pace, Carson Miller and Avery Alford were caught up in that accident. They have a little bit of damage. They have kind of lost the draft, but I don't know how far off the pace they truly are at this point. So we'll see as this race goes along if that becomes a factor. It became a factor in the second duel. That's why Roberto Crown Jr. won their duel race. But this is going to be something that Stover's going to have to think about. If he's going to be the driver pacing this field, he's got to be careful getting around the lap traffic and not get himself caught in the backpack. Eric Monaco's done an excellent job today on that 82 machine. He's been top 5 pretty much the entire day, and of course won this race a year ago in a hot seat ride and looking to do so again. Fitzwater still up here, and how about some new faces moving their way to the front? Zayden Davidson, LJ Semedo on that inside lane, Sarah Taylor from Mahindra Motorsports. And this pack starting to reform up, but it takes a while for these guys to reform up on that single file restart.
Yeah, definitely. It'll take a little bit of time, but getting back to Giacomo, I'm still a little bit speechless. He's definitely heartbroken at this moment. So I hope he can bounce back from what a terrible way to end this race. But like you said and Matt said, Stover has to watch out now. He's on his own. All other teams are definitely trying to get to the front as much as possible. We have Cordial Motorsports with Monaco and Bartos still there. We have Tennis Fury with Pizzi and Semedo getting to the front. So if those teams work together, we definitely have trouble for Stover. So you got to watch out. But still, Monaco trying to be the one to catch up to Stover. But the top 2 is running away at the moment. So you got to watch out. But I think there's still a lot to play on this race. Obviously, Robert Crown Jr. might pick to win still right there as well. Leonard Foxmar. And still, lots of drivers can have a cut this race. The pack's still forming up behind them. So 30 laps to go. It's still a tough race, but Stover is still the favorite. But without the help of Giacomo, definitely going to keep that up.
Yeah, it's going to definitely get a little difficult for Brad Stover if he doesn't have that help with him. And, I think the reason why I say that is those two cars were clearly two of the best cars, and those two could work together to pull away and help each other. Brad Stover does not have another driver to help pull away with, and that means these guys are going to be able to get runs on him and have an opportunity at getting him caught behind. The thing is, that really hasn't been the case. It's looking a lot like Bruno Diacomo's run in that dual race right now, with Stover just single file all by himself up front. These guys forming back up, that pack really forming back up well, and you got Sarah Taylor moving her way up very well on the 60 machine from Mahindra Motorsports, and a lot of these guys in this inside lane right now benefited from that caution. They were not up front when that yellow took place, but now they're all running in the top 10. Sarah Taylor, Bryce Egan, Angel Gutierrez, who's won in Indianapolis 250. Laura Chung on the inside lane. How about Rogel Dorn there for Anderson's Motor Racing? Of course, I know you guys at GRT, Matt, really don't set up as well for the super speedways, and Lajovic said that herself on Tuesday night when we had qualifying, but you know what? An opportunity is at hand for a lot of these drivers to get a Daytona 500 race victory, but they're all still chasing Brad Stover. There has not been any other team other than Anderson Junior Enterprises to have led this race here today. It's all been Diacomo, and mainly has been Brad Stover in the 73.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying, sending some new faces to the front, and Taylor, Egan, Gutierrez, Chung, and I mean, maybe you need some new faces here to come to the front. I mean, the two hair gel cars, they gave it their best, and I gotta give them credit, but they just could not get organized enough, and, we're gonna bring some new faces here to the front of this field. Laura Chung, Rogel Dorn, Brian Webb, those are some heavy hitters, or some great drivers here lining up on the bottom, and, we'll just have to see where it goes. Sarah Taylor's car looks really quick. Bryce Egan's been quick in everything he's driven so far this season, so will he be able to close it here? And I mean, Angel Gutierrez knows how to get it done on a big oval, and his cars looked great yesterday, so we'll just have to see how it goes. We're closing in on halfway. Those lappers are going to be a factor at some point. Oh, here we go. Sarah Taylor splitting Brad Stover, and it's just the two of them out here for the moment.
Yeah, Sarah Taylor trying to become the first team other than Anderson Junior Enterprises to lead a lap. This is going to bring Zane Davis and Bryce Egan right into the fray here. Those guys going side by side. They had a huge gap on the field, but now it has recoiled back in. And that inside lane looks to be a little bit more formed up at the moment than the outside lane. And Sarah Taylor trying to take this away from Brad Stover, Mahendra Motorsports. This organization also new to the series, so a couple of new teams up front, but that 98 machine there. Same Davidson, NS Racing, they've been around a long time. Same with Harrisville Motorsports, same with Rut Racing. All in this inside lane, and they're all jammed right back up on each other. And Sarah Taylor looks very strong. She drove right up to the back bumper of Brad Stover for that race lead. And next time by, we're going to be halfway through this Daytona 500 here. How about Angel Gutierrez looking to go 3 wide, and Fitzwater. Oh boy, Igor, I'm sure that made you nervous there. You're two guys getting into each other through the tri-oval. Fitzwater and Cemento mid-pack.
Yeah, truly, I think my heart skipped a beat there. But thankfully, they avoided trouble. They avoided a big one. Still, they got to work together. They're in different lanes, so that's going to be tough. But still, Sarah Taylor definitely making a push to try to get this over. Sadly, still couldn't pass. Andrew Gutierrez as well. Now, 20 of Laura Trines is also right there. So honestly, Rose's driver trying to catch up to Silver. Silver was cracking there for a second, but now he opened the gap once again. Might take a while for him to be tracking once again. So you've got to watch out. Still halfway to go. Silver definitely the strongest car in the field, but like they would on duel number 2, he can be passed. That's the main thing. Can't be passed. The driver behind him just gotta work together. So it's still a long ways to go. Everyone wants to be aggressive, wants this win. So it's going to be tough for them to work together, but if they can do it, maybe the Stover's reign in this race can be taken.
We got more 4 wide. Philip Torres and Tanner Parton. It's Thomas Troxel kind of in the middle of all that right there, and it looks like they will get out of it. I think they just drove right into a 4 wide situation on their own. That was very unique in the back of the field. And now Zayden Davison has found his way to the back bumper of Brad Stover. Will he have enough momentum on the inside to possibly take this race lead away? Doesn't seem like any of these guys quite have the power to get to that Anderson Jr. machine. The fact that one of them is out of the race makes it a lot easier for the rest of the field. Zane Davison's got to have a push from somebody if he's going to make this work, and he's not getting it. He'll lose so much momentum down the backstretch on the inside lane, and that's what these Anderson Jr. cars have done so well all week, is utilize that outside lane down the backstretch and carry that momentum down the straightaway. Davison had an opportunity there, and now he's 4 lanes back from the race lead. Sarah Taylor, Bryce Egan still up here. And now if there's someone who can get it, it's this guy, Brian Webb in the 43. Won Talladega back in May of last year. Actually, it might have been April of last year, but regardless of the fact, Racing Motorsports, they're defending winners of this race as an organization. And Brian Webb is finding himself up towards the front. How about Mateus Bento on this inside? Aaron Lukes is up here. Aaron Lukes was in the very first Daytona 500 all the way back in the day. Here comes Sarah Taylor once again trying to get to the inside of Stover. She's been the closest to anyone getting around this 73 machine for this race lead. Things are going to change very quickly here, though, because Carson Miller and Avery Alford, they were caught up in that accident. They are not too far ahead of our race leaders. And if you're Brad Stover, Sarah Taylor, you're thinking now, what do I do to avoid these lap cars and find myself in position to win this Daytona 500? Zane Davison is trying to set himself up here. 3 wide for the race lead as we close up on lap traffic here at Daytona.
Oh, is this the opportunity? Almost 3 wide, 4 wide. Is this the opportunity for somebody to get by Brad Stover? And it's going to be, because the bottom of the racetrack is going to open up, and can Zayden Davidson make it work? Oh, he's almost going to get shoved. Oh, there he goes. He's going to have the way now.
He's got it now. Now, I do think that Alford and Miller may possibly be up to speed. They just lost the draft on the restart. They were coming down the pit lane. Oh, no! They just took out the leader! Zane Davidson around mid-pack. Brian Webb caught up as well. De Oliveira with damage. And it's a big one through the tri-oval here at Daytona. Bryce Egan, Nicholas Samadillo, Paulus is in it as well. A lot of guys from the back of the field. Avery Alford and Carson Miller again involved in an accident. This time they take out the race leader. Mateus Bento is now the race leader here at Daytona in the 31. But Zayden Davidson, while up front, just got taken out by lap cars. Unreal. Unreal scenes here at Daytona.
Folks, I once, kind of got we won't get heated here, but there was a time last summer where I called somebody out for some questionable driving that really wasn't, but that as 2 lap cars, that respectfully might be some of the worst driving you cannot do that. You cannot do that if you're Carson Miller and Avery Alford. That is just in front of the field at the Daytona 500. That is just brutal for Zayden Davison.
Sarah Taylor's got damage. He was up there
Sarah
as well.
Taylor. That is just... There's going to be some unhappy campers after this race.
Well, I've seen a lot in this race in the past.
Oh my goodness.
Mateus Bento coming down the pit lane. Did he get caught up in this? I think he did. Nothing to the 31 there. Philip Torres is... sorry, that's Logan Williams in the 64. Looks like appears to have some damage. A lot of guys in the back of the field were caught up in this one. Coming down the pit lane here. And Mateus Bento as well got caught up in that too. So even though he was the race leader, Logan's done in the 64. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a lot to sort out here, so let's go ahead and sort it out. Tough break for all those guys involved here in this Daytona 500, especially Zayden Davison, who got wrecked out from the race lead here in the Great American Race. Oh my, absolute unreal scenes here at Daytona. Carson Miller, Avery Alford, we saw him caught up in that first accident earlier on, getting in the way of Brad Stover right there. And I think Carson Miller reacted to Stover getting a run on him. Came down on Alford, pushed Alford down, and then Alford came down on Zayden Davison. While the race leader getting spun around through the tri-oval, Brad Stover actually tapped the outside wall there, and Bryce Egan had nowhere to go. The race back to the line was won by Mateus Bento in the 31 in the grass. But then pandemonium behind him. Bryce Egan going around. Brian Webb with damage. Bernardo de Oliveira taking a hard hit there to the 0 of Zayden Davison. Nicholas Sambadio up in the outside wall as well. Skep Silver, our last winner, going around. And the track is essentially blocked from here. A lot of guys who were running in the back of the field. Leonard Kochmer there. Ruggles Dorn, Roberto Crown Jr. A couple of the Hairchill cars. Trey Bartow and Eric Monaco. Javier Vasquez there. Alexander Rowe in the 72 machine also getting caught up in that one as well. We've seen way more violent accidents before. A little bit more happened up here. Sarah Taylor in the 60 getting spun around. Paulus got a bit of damage there. LJ Semedo, Philip Torres, and Christian Master. Just a wild wreck here at Daytona, as it always is. Tough break and a knockout. Quite a few guys from this Daytona 500.
Yeah, coming back out of turn 4, the 2 lap cars of Carson Miller and Avery Alford with the front of the pack, and then, yeah, like you said, Carson Miller reacted to Brad Silver and then caused the whole crash. Zayden Davidson basically out, Bryce Egan involved, Sarah Taylor, Ruggles Dorn, have Trey Barton involved back there, you have LJ Semedo, so many drivers involved in this. Definitely a big one, definitely not the biggest one we ever seen at Daytona. We've definitely seen worse crashes, but definitely going to knock out a few drivers out of the race, a few drivers off the chances to win, because there's definitely heavy damage for some of these guys. But hopefully the guys who avoided, like Mateus Bento, can maybe try and get the chance off Stover to win. Still a long way to go, and now with the pack getting definitely smaller than it was, it might be tougher to take the win away from Stover.
We'll just have to see if anyone can do so. We're going to go ahead and do an onboard. We don't do this too often. We like doing one for the 500 every year. Let's go on board Zayden Davison in the 98 machine, see what he saw in this accident, and get back to racing here in the Daytona 500. On board the number 98 of Zayden Davison on this accident. made the move to the inside of Avery Alford and Carson Miller. And they made a move on him, sending him up into the outside wall. Of course, such a narrow track here at Daytona. Track essentially getting blocked. Carson Green, Roberto Crown Jr. with heavy damage there. Such a tough break for Zane Davison, who was about to take the race lead. But he's going to be out of the race, or no, he's going to be out of contention most likely with the damage that he has in the 98. All right, let's get back to racing. Brad Stover is your race leader here in the Daytona 500. Let's see what he does in the restart here in the Wawa Cup Series. We're back here at the Daytona International Speedway. Carson Miller retains his spot there because Brad Stover is ahead of him. You only get the wave around if you are ahead of the race leader. So a lot of guys, Brad Stover might be very thankful that happened because he was going to fall behind. He was going to lose the race lead. Now he's back out front with Aaron Lukes in second. Mateus Bento came down the pit lane. He's going to be at the back of the field. Nathan Smith, Blaine Keys is up here, guys, in fourth, and Johnson Jameson in fifth. Duncan Ward, a defending Wawa Cup Series champion. Angel Gutierrez up here as well. Laura Chung, Kirsten Bell, Leonard Kochmer. That is the top 10 coming to the restart. And it's going to take a second for this to cycle through as we only run a 2-lap caution here. It's a little bit of a mess back here. Some of these guys are trying to figure themselves out. And, these guys caught up in that accident might not end up working too well for those drivers in the back of the field as this race goes along. But Brad Stover is working out well for him. He is your race leader. Aaron Lukes, Johnson Jameson, Nathan Smith, and Blaine Keys still behind Carson Miller right there. It's going to take a while for these guys to cycle back through. But now lap traffic is absolutely going to become a factor in this race because there's definitely going to be a lot of guys like Jack Haas, Bryce Egan, Zane Davison, who've got heavy damage to their race cars there, who are going to be way off the pace. So it's going to get very interesting. Of course, you have Brian Webb, Trey Bartow as well caught up with heavy damage to their race cars. But Brad Stover still out front in the 73, looking to win the Daytona 500. Here comes Blaine Keys in the 32. And how about the Toyotas today? They've done an excellent job in this race. Of course, Anderson Junior Enterprises Toyota team, they've been up front pretty much this entire day. But now you got Aaron Lukes there for Heartland Racing and Pacific Racing's Blaine Keys, their alliance there at Team Warp. And you got another one of their alliance drivers here. And then Mahindra Motorsports in the 42. Top 5 are all Toyotas right now here in this Daytona 500. Kirsten Bell looking to make some moves there in the 66 machine. But I tell you, Brad Stover, he's got such a great opportunity of winning this race here today. Will he be able to hold on to it and get it once we get down in 18 laps?
We gotta see with a smaller pack that we will have now. Stover might have the best chance of winning this race, especially with the strong car he has. But with the caution, we obviously have new contenders like Blaine Keys, the 42, my bad, the 42 Johnson James, and the 67 Aaron Luke. So honestly, they might have a thought of winning, but honestly, it might be really tough to take out Brad Stover from this position. He's led almost every lap this race so far. So I think it's possible, but it's going to be really tough, especially with smaller packs. They'll have to really work together to have a shot to take the win away from Stover.
And we'll just have to see if they have enough momentum to get to him. I think the lap cars are going to be their friend. Jack Haas, Brian Webb there. And let's officially go over who's out of the race now. Bernardo de Oliveira, Daniel Paulus Jr., Carson Green, Sarah Taylor, 17 machine of Nicholas Samadio. Such a tough break for Nicholas, and Logan Williams got knocked out as well. Everybody else still in the race. Carson Miller, Avery Alford a lap down. They got lapped. They caused the accident. And, of course, a lot of guys in the back of the field. Of course, you got Jack Haas in the 39. Brian Webb in the 43. Trey Bartow. BB Ruiz is off the pace. He probably got some damage. Same with Zayden Davison, Thomas Troxel, Bryce Egan, Rogel Dorn, Skep Silver, LJ Cemento. Of course, we know Avery Alford's off the pace, but then you got everybody else, so I think still in it. Laura Chung on up through the field. Laura is currently in the 22nd position, so still 22 guys pretty much close to the main draft. But no one is sniffing the back of this 73 as Brad Stover continues to dominate this Daytona 500. But still, 15 laps to go. Lap traffic will get in the way And all of these guys know it. Aaron Lukes, Kirsten Bell, Blaine Keys, Nathan Smith, Zachary Fitzwater is still up here as well. Eric Monaco, defending champion Duncan Ward. So many guys know they have an opportunity now at winning this Daytona 500 after everything that has occurred in this race.
You know, I think there's two things that are going to be interesting to watch. We saw Sarah Taylor, who was putting in a monstrous performance, to her credit, in 60, was able to get to the door of the 73 a lot, kind of in this situation of get a run away from the pack and then get to the inside. And Zayden Davidson almost used that too to his work. So we're going to see maybe using the whole pack isn't how you're going to be able to get by the 73. You might need to just go up and do it by yourself, which if you're going to have to do it by yourself, boy, you are going to need a fast car to do it. The other thing now is going to be interesting too. We were talking about the lap cars and how far off the pace they were. I mean, obviously they caused a lot of chaos there, but the ones we have now are going to cause some chaos in a different way because the speed differential is going to be greater. You are going to have to slice and dice a little bit more. And as we've seen every year, if you mistake the slice and dice and get pinned behind somebody, a la the 39 and Jack Haas coming up here, it can absolutely ruin your race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know that's on the minds of all these guys up here. I mean, just look at how small this pack is, though. So they're going to be bobbing and weaving quite a bit through the rest of this race here at Daytona. And honestly, I don't think you have a shot at winning this race unless you are in this main pack, because these guys, Mateus Bento, Angel Gutierrez, a little bit too far behind now, I think, to have anything to go their way unless the lap cars really get in the way. Andrew Miller did not lose his spot on the lead lap. He got caught up in that accident, the first one. Here he is running 15th right now, and he's pretty much up the pace with these guys. Braden Perez there, Isaac Nichols, and Christian Master almost won the first one back in the day. Time is running out, but they're closing in on Jack Haas, and they will close in on this number 39 here very soon. Kirsten Bell up to second. Eric Monaco still up here as well. But Brad Stover continuing to pace this field here in the Daytona 500, looking to get his first ever Daytona 500 race victory and his first ever Wawa Cup Series race victory here today. He's been in every single Wawa Cup Series race. Will he get an opportunity at it here today in 11 and a half laps? Well, his first opportunity is right here. Jack Haas in the 39. Where is Brad Stover going to go? As they close in on this 39 machine, Blaine Keys looking to take an opportunity on Kirsten Bell. And Brad Stover really had to check up there, and he didn't do that right. And that's the experience. If you're Blaine Keys, that's the experience the veteran drivers have. And Blaine Keys now out front with 11 laps to go here in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, like you said, experience counts, and Stover probably first time he's been in a front position this year there, so he forgot how to weave around Jack Haas. Sadly, he lost his lead, but still, his smaller pack might have a great chance of getting back to the lead. And now the pack split was basically the top 12, now it's basically the top 6, and we're still going to have a few other lap cars, like we see there Barto. And the other driver, I believe the 32. No, the 32 is Key, sorry. So it's going to be a little bit tough. Stover right back at the front. So it's still, the lap traffic can affect a lot. Even though Stover might have the fast car, if he can't weave through lap traffic, it's going to cost him the win.
For a second, if that was the last lap, he would have lost the race. He got right back to the lead. And he got back very easily. And the problem for Blaine there is that he was the only one to get around that as quick as he did, so he had no help. He's going to follow the back of this line. Kirsten Bell right back there with him. Zachary Fitzwater trying to make some moves. How about Tanner Parton, who I believe he was runner-up? No, he was third last week at Homestead. Still a great run for him there, and a great run for him here. He's also never won before in the Wawa Cup Series. Here we go again. And Brad Stover's got nowhere to go with Barto and Brian Webb holding him up, and once again the lap traffic getting in the way. And Zachary Fitzwater, Kirsten Bell, Blaine Keys on the inside lane. Are they going to try to split down on the inside going into turn 1? That's their opportunity to get Barto, or should I say Stover, out of contention in this race. But they're all stuck behind him. There's nowhere for them to go. As both Brian Webb and Trey Barto hold the pack up. Reminds me a lot of that Southern 500 we had a couple of years ago when everyone was stuck behind the lap traffic. Stover's in a terrible position. He's not going to get out of this time. There goes Fitzwater, peeking down to the inside of Brian Webb and Trey Barto, Blaine Keys, Duncan Ward, and Stover's going to get caught to the back of the field after this. And now, it's just gotten real. Look at all these guys here. In the farther back packs, closing back in on the lead pack. Stover might get the outside lane here. He will, so he's back in this thing. But it's Zachary Fitzwater, Blaine Keys, Duncan Ward out front here at Daytona. 8 laps to go here in the Great American Race.
Yeah, and they're trying to run away here. That 73, the 05, and the 16 have broken free. And now you see the 66, the 82. So we're going to get this pack kind of regrouped here. This car is just so fast. It's ridiculous how fast the 73 is here today when he is able to clear. He's going to go 2 wide, 3 wide already, looking to get back to the lead. Nobody has passed from, or nobody's really been able to clear from the inside lane unless BB Ruiz is going to slam the door. He's done.
He did!
Oh, he did!
Fitzwater going to get the outside lane, his advantage, but now he's going to be a sitting duck. As Brad Stover will clear, Tanner Parton as well, Duncan Ward, Kirsten Bell, Eric Monaco, Johnson Jameson, Andrew Miller's back in the fray for this as well. This could get very wild near the end.
Oh boy! Oh
train of
no!
4 down the backstretch. I don't know if we're going to catch up to him or not in this race. We will see. But I mean, you can just tell that this 73 and Anderson Jr. Enterprises, they have put together the fastest cars here at Daytona. And you have seen how difficult it is to win this race. One blew an engine, the other is trying to weave around everybody, weave around the lap traffic and find himself in victory lane. But it's going to take a lot, and it's far from over here at Daytona for Brad Stover, who's taking it back away from Fitzwater. Tanner Parton back up to second, Kirsten Bell, Eric Monaco, that is the top 5. And these guys are a little ways ahead, so it's 6 laps to go for Brad Stover now here at Daytona in the Daytona 500. And it's going to come down to if we come into lap traffic again and how well Brad Stover gets around it.
Yeah, that's the main question. Will we get to the lap traffic? Because if we get to lap traffic, it's going to be in the penultimate or even the last lap. And that's the main thing, because Stover definitely has been having trouble with lap traffic. And we've seen drivers like Fitzy and Keys, who's a little bit off now, how well they've been driving through lap traffic. So if we get to that, Stover definitely has the fastest car. Like, someone has to do a tech inspection. These guys must be using that for how quick they are. But honestly, it's impressive how quick the Stover car has been, but also how much difficult it has been for him to weave through lap traffic. And we gotta see if we catch up to this 4-car pack until the end, because if we do,
they will.
The win might change.
Yeah,
the win might change.
I think the rate they're going now, to your point, Igor, it's probably going to be on the penultimate or even the last lap. It could be coming to the checkered flag, and that could really shake things up for the end. All these guys don't have the opportunity. And how about Andrew Miller? He was around in turn 1. He was in the wall. He's now top 10. With 5 laps to go in the Daytona 500, this number 97's got a huge opportunity at it. And outside of the Anderson cars, the Nexus cars have been very quick. The Dodges have been really quick in single-car runs and everything else here this weekend. So Andrew Miller looking to get it done here. He's moving his way on up, but it's going to come down to lap traffic, and if Brad Stover can get around it cleanly. Kirsten Bell second, Johnson Jameson, Duncan Ward in the top 5. Brad Stover, he's got 3.5 laps to go for his maiden Daytona 500 race victory and his maiden Wawa Cup Series race victory here today.
Yeah, I mean, this is intense moments here. You've got cars behind. You have cars that you're probably catching on like lap 49, maybe 50, and we've seen the 73. He's not timing these runs good. I mean, all sorts of drivers up here who haven't been all race. Kirsten Bell's up here. Johnson Jameson, I mean, what a turnaround from a year ago. He couldn't even make a start. Now, here he is up here in the Daytona 500. Andrew Miller was in the turn 1 wall. Braden Perez was right behind him. I mean, that's 2 great comebacks here from these veteran drivers. And Alexander Rose up here, Nathan Smith's up here, and this is not what you want to see if you are Brad Stover, who's dominated this race. But if you're everybody else, here comes the pink BWT machine of Johnson Jameson. Boy, what a run this could be for him if he can steal a Daytona 500 win after not making a start last year.
Well, we've only got 2 laps to go to determine the race winner here at Daytona. And I tell you that they're getting closer and closer. You can see him in the frame now. It's Zane Davison, Thomas Troxel, Bryce Egan, and Rogaldor, and they're all caught up in that second accident. And Brad Stover has to be immensely careful getting around all 4 of these guys. And that's a tall order because those guys could be side by side. It could bring these guys right in. Kirsten Bell, Tanner Pardon, Eric Monaco looking to set themselves up here. And they're coming to the white flag here in this Daytona 500. Time is running out for this field. You can see Zane Davison barely in frame now. They are going to catch up on these lap cars on the final lap of this race. Well, here we go. What a race it has been so far. Brad Stover takes the white flag in the Daytona 500, but will he take the checkered flag? Oh boy, here we go. The time is now for these drivers to run in the lap traffic. On the final lap of the race, Stover goes high. Here comes Kirsten Bell to the inside for the race lead, and everybody is jamming up behind them. And not only that, they're closing in on Jack Haas, who's way off the pace. And both lanes getting held up by the 39. Where is everybody going to go? The inside lane has the advantage. Kirsten Bell in the 66. Goodness. John Andrews has never won a race as an owner in the Wawa Cup Series. He's got an opportunity now, but here comes Tanner Pardon. Tanner Pardon has never won in the Wawa Cup Series. It's going to be a tight one. It's Kirsten Bell on the outside lane, getting John Andrews his first win as an owner in the Wawa Cup Series in the Daytona 500. How about that?
I have no words.
And after all of that, Brad Stover is going to finish 10th. Unreal.
Well, it came to what we talked about. It came to weaving through lap traffic. And like I said, Stover struggled the whole time. And he struggled also to pick the best line when it mattered most. But congrats, Kirsten Bell. Definitely a great race. In the Sonic car, even. So, definitely showing the sponsor why he's the quickest. But congrats to Kirsten. Congrats to Duncan Ward as well in 3rd place. Tanner Parr in 2nd. Also, Johnson Jameson, like Matt talked about, he couldn't even start last season. Now 4th place, top 5. And the old 6 as well. We didn't talk much about him throughout the race. E5 for Nathan Smith.
Great run for Nathan Smith there, but the driver had the best run at the end there was Kirsten Bell. And for a driver who runs up front a lot, it's no surprise that she knew what she was doing there at the end to find the best line. Oh, man, if you're Brad Stover, that's got to hurt. And we kind of just felt like that was going to happen. And you're at a disadvantage when you're trying to decide that line, especially when they're double wide lap traffic ahead of you right there. Man, what a finish. Kirsten Bell gets the win for Andrews Racing, and what a huge story that is, not only for Kirsten Bell, that's her 4th win in the Wawa Cup Series. She's a great driver, and that is exactly why John Andrews hired her, because John knew that that's going to be a good driver for that team there. But for John Andrews, who has been in this series as an owner since the beginning, he has never won a race as an owner in the Wawa Cup Series until now. Alex Aventali blew up earlier on in the race, but Kirsten kept it going. She was in the right place at the right time, and that is the nature of this race that we have seen over the past decade. What a wild one, Matt. And I tell you, that was entertaining, and Kirsten Bell is your Daytona 500 champion here in 2026.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Haley Anderson Jr. is going to leave Daytona tonight. I mean, just absolutely seething. Your fastest car blows up. The other one basically led 45 laps of the race and, ended it like that. It's just, that's a brutal way for Anderson Jr. Enterprises to lose that race. And I know I didn't rate them too highly in the preseason discussion, but they came out here swinging in a very impressive effort, and there's no world they're going to be happy with that outcome here. Just heartbreaking for them. I mean, hats off to the 66 team. That was right place at the right time and made the right moves, and definitely the biggest win Kirsten Bell has had here in the Wawa Cup Series, and Tanner Parton so close to getting Triad Racing some redemption. And Duncan Ward, I know Eddie hasn't been too high on the pace this weekend, but he had a good car in the race here. And shout out Johnson Jameson. Like I said, I don't even think he made a start last year. That whole fiasco that he was trapped in comes out here, second start of the season, and he finishes fourth in the Daytona 500. Happy for him also. That's really cool.
And you got you guys up there as well. Nathan Smith finishing fifth. He was up there most of the race. How about Andrew Miller, who was around, finishing seventh? Javier Vasquez, the uncharted, the hot seat driver. They're not uncharted drivers anymore. They're hot seat drivers. Finishing there in sixth. Man, Brad Stover, it's just like I said, it's the nature of this racetrack, the nature of this race, and that's why there's only 3 super speedways on the schedule, because we don't want the championship being decided on races like this. But we got a couple of them in here. We got to come here to Daytona, and Kirsten Bell gets the Daytona 500 race victory. She led one lap here today, and it was the most important one, the final lap of this great American race. Take a look at the rest of the finishing results right there. And, of course, we mentioned all the guys who got knocked out from the accident that happened midway through the race. And that was really a turning point in this event, because at that moment, Brad Stover was about to get caught behind because of the lap traffic. Zane Davison had the race lead in hand, and then he got turned around by Avery Alfred and Carson Miller, sent up into the outside wall. And all of those guys finished lap down or more laps down, and Brad Stover was able to get out of it unscathed, but could not manage the lap traffic. That was the big key to this race here today. And Brad Stover's still going to get a top 10 run out of it, but you got to feel for Brad Stover, Hallie Anderson Jr. and what happened there, but he's got to be in the right place at the right time. That's the nature of the Daytona 500. And Kirsten Bell was able to execute, get a win for her team owner of John Andrews. John Andrews' first ever win as an owner. And Igor, I know that's a special feeling. You've won this race before, so how is John feeling right now after all the years of not going to victory lane in the series? He finally gets one, and he gets it in the biggest race of the year.
Oh, I'm sure he's elated. Definitely one of the greatest feelings as an owner to get not only a win, but one of the biggest wins you can get out of the Daytona 500. So I believe he's just elated, like I said. He's just happy that this happened, and I'm happy for John Andrews, Kirsten Bell as well. A little bit sad about Tanner Parton, but he will take the points lead as well.
You will.
And like I said, great performance all around. I think probably the most heartbroken thing will be Arson Junior Motorsports over-dominated probably like 80 to 90% of the race. Had problems with lap traffic right when it mattered most. Giacomo also dominant car early on and blew up under caution. So on one side you have Andrews Racing with probably the happiest crew alive, and then Henderson Junior Motorsport with probably the most sad pit crew this weekend. So racing motorsport is a game of extremes if you think about it. So there's happiness and sadness at the same time in this racetrack. But congrats to all drivers to finish who got to the end. It was definitely a great race, an amazing finish that probably will be remembered for a long time. Even with all the lap traffic problems, it's definitely one of the most emotional and incredible finish I ever seen in the 500.
That was something else. No doubt about it. This race is always something here, regardless of what series it's running in. And we had a lot of fun, no doubt about it. Well, hey, next week the real season really does get started for all these guys. We had all the hoopla of the Smooth Fest. We had the opening event at Homestead, the Daytona 500. But then these guys really start thinking and focusing on the championship next week, this Saturday, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's going to be a lot of fun there. It's always a lot of fun in Atlanta, and we're excited for the Truest 400, Saturday at noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. And a huge thanks to everyone for watching throughout all of Speed Weeks, and can't thank you guys enough. Can't thank Caleb enough for running the National Series, Nathan for running the Sprint Series, and of course all the other races we did, and everyone who was in the booth with me. Of course, a huge thanks to you two guys for joining me here today, Matt Tuck and Igor Barreto. Great to have you guys in the booth, and hopefully you'll hear their voices in the booth throughout the season. And what a race here at the Daytona International Speedway to cap off Speed Weeks here for the Wawa Cup Series. Congratulations to Kirsten Bell and Andrews Racing for winning the Daytona 500 here in the 2026 Wawa Cup Series. It's going to be a great celebration for those guys and John Andrews and what they've accomplished here today. But hey, the season's just getting started. We still got 30 races left to go here in the Wawa Cup Series, and we're excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Join us on Saturday for the Truest 400 from Atlanta. A huge thanks to Matt Tuck and Igor Barreto for joining me here today. Thank you all so much for watching, as always, and we will see you guys on Saturday, the third race of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Congratulations to Kirsten Bell once again. Here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 2 races, and I will see you guys later.